So welcome to the Fire Emblem Three Houses Draft Race Meta Review. Um, so what we have coming up is we've got another draft relay, and we're going to have three teams of 4+ racers per team running through 4 games. And one of those games is going to be Fire Emblem Three Houses. Um, the intention of this video is just to give people who may be unfamiliar with the meta just a little bit of a foundation from which they can build and develop maybe their own strats or maybe understand the strats on the sacred text VODs a little bit better. So yeah. So first of all, I just want to start with a bird's eye view of Three Houses as a format. I'm just going to zoom all the way out to how the rules came to be, just so that everyone understands why certain rules exist. So when we were coming up with any draft race, the rule set, one thing we want to make sure is we want to make sure that it's an interesting race, and what qualities define a good draft race. In my opinion, that comes down to 3 things: individual unit identity, the free units not being centralizing, and strategic variability between teams. So, Three Houses inherently, just without any rules, has many of these problems. The unit identity in vanilla gameplay is weak due to reclassing, relative in a draft racing context. The free units are very strong. The house leaders and Byleth are very strong, so they could be pretty centralizing. And then the strategic variability is also kind of weak due to reclassing. So how did we address these with a good rule set to create an interesting format? So first of all, recruitment. Okay, so in a vanilla file, it actually takes a lot of time for Byleth to get ranks, get B supports, all this stuff to recruit characters. That takes time. So what we wanted to do is we created a special New Game Plus file that from a previous run carries over no battalions, no Saint statue bonuses, nothing like that. But what it does carry over is supports. So we created a special file that has A support with every single character so that you could recruit them for free using your renown by getting them to A support, and then you could just ask them, and like Byleth doesn't need to meet any requirements other than just having the A support activated. So that was number one. Number two was professor level. It's just a time waste. So what we do is we just allow A+ professor from the beginning of the run, so we don't have to view any of the those level up screens. Meister, okay, but what if we had a risk raid 2 speedrun tournament in the server? I don't know. I have no idea what the game is, but go for it. So, okay, so then back to the rule set. The Lords and Byleth, we wanted to limit them. So basically, instead of being free, we actually changed that to mostly banned. So just to create strategic variability, and turns out you don't need them to do everything, and you could still be very fast. Again, one of the main differences between draft racing and speedrunning is that draft racing we treat more as a spectator sport, and that just means the animation. So no skips, nothing like that. So things that might be fast in a speed run that skip like a lengthy enemy phase and full of animations may not necessarily be that fast in a draft racing context. So that's something to keep in mind. And then ban tools. So retribution is a key one. By banning retribution, what that allows is that each weapon type gains it maintains its own identity, instead of just pick up the biggest beat stick and just stand in one spot and everybody just dies to you. Is paying attention to ranges is something that is fun and interesting and strategic. We also banned the DLC bed items, so that's the extra boots, stat boosters, and then the chalice, which again has distant counter. So then, in order to create better unit identity and strategic variability, we decided to go with a rule known as the boons and budding talents rule. So a unit can only gain skill rank in a boot or budding talent. So this immediately just eliminates like most of the cast from having access to the best classes. So each character just has, their own pool of classes that they can access with boons, their budding talents, and it really gives a strong sense of unit identity from basically the entire cast. Um, and then another thing that is not actually a rule, but is just a function of the format itself is in normal mode. People may not be aware of this, but in other modes that are not normal mode, units gain auto levels at time skip, and it's like anywhere from usually 1 to 4 levels, sometimes 5 in rare cases like Lorenz or Ash. Um, but in normal mode, if you're not to level 20, you will get boosted to level 20. And what this does is that you can recruit a cast of characters, give them zero or essentially zero combat investment in time skip, zero level investment, have them boost to 20, and then they gain access to advanced classes for post time skip where they can do a bunch of different roles and be very valuable for saving time. So that's really interesting. And then traditionally, in a 4-team race, because boons and budding talents only, that actually only allows for 3 warpers. So that would be, just gonna put them up here, Manuela, Lysithea. You can see 2 Lysithias there, and then Linhart. Happy is theoretically a 4th warper, but because she has faith neutral, she actually doesn't have access to it in the format. So in a 4-team race, to make it like more fair, more balanced as a format, we actually decided to have a second draftable copy of Lysithea. That really actually helps the 3rd and 4th team be able to compete with the 1st and 2nd team, as Lysithea offers a lot of good role compression. So this is actually very similar to the free Cyrene rule in FE8. So now, since we are actually only doing a 3-team race, we are actually not going to have the extra Lysithea. There will just be these 3. So I'm going to move them back down. You can also see Rhea here. Okay, and then I think I actually am missing Constance. Yeah, there you go. Okay. When are we seeing Constance carry? Every single day. Constance is the #1 carry. So, also, we play with DLC. It's just an interesting rule set and an interesting format. You can play with non-DLC if you want. You'd have to amend the rules slightly. The first race we ever did was non-DLC. But ever since then, we've been doing DLC because it adds more layers of interesting gameplay. So that's just the setup. So let me pause there. That was a lot of information. But does anyone have any questions? And I'm speaking more specifically to everyone who's in the call here.
By mostly banned, what do you mean?
Okay, well, that's a good question. So, Byleth and the House Leader are free to use in Prologue, Chapter 1, and then in Hunting by Daybreak. So, because the strategies there, it's just better to have them free in those instances because there's no other drafted units usually in those chapters. You could make an interesting case of like, Hunting by Daybreak, like drafting utility, but it's just cleaner just to use the House Leader and Byleth. So we just made them free in those chapters, and then they're not usable. They can't actually see or gain experience in any other context. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, good question.
On the subject of the banned units, you say they can't gain experience in any context, which makes sense, obviously. But I had a couple specific questions about Dimitri.
Yes.
Is he allowed to class change?
Yes.
Since he gets to level 20 at time skip, he is. Okay, interesting. That could be helpful.
Yeah.
And is he also allowed to participate in group tasks?
I haven't thought about that. I'll have to think about that. That did not occur to me. So.
The use case is he has a budding talent in riding.
Yeah.
And if you don't have anyone else to do a group task, that can provide you with a steady stream of smithing stones and money in lieu of just not having it. If you also keep Sylvain alive, he and Dimitri can just like do it automatically if you don't have anybody else to assign.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's allowed or not, or it should be allowed or not, but
Yeah.
it's there if you don't have anybody else.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, again, I have spam turned up to 200%. So to rehash the question essentially for chat,
Right,
if you
okay.
couldn't understand, I could hear you. But so basically, there was a question if Dimitri could participate in group tasks for the purpose of gaining smithing stones for forging, um, or gold. So yeah, the spam classic. So, and then to answer your question, Gena, DLC means extra units. There are extra units, but also it gives you access to the Abyss shop, where that is where a lot of important shopping gets done, actually, for a lot of weapons and items. So, but yeah, I will. I'll think about the Dimitri thing, and I'll get back to you on that spam.
Cool, no rush.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions? Okay. All right. So, uh, moving on. So let's go to the draft. So like I said, there's going to be only 3 teams in this, so I'm actually just going to delete a row here. Um, so the first thing, in most, as in most draft races, actually no, I did not want to do that. Let's add a row below. Forgot I was. I'll just leave this here for now. This will make sense in a bit. Okay. So the thing that you want to do, with your first pick, or just identify it with your team construct overall, is your carry unit. Your unit that's going to be doing the vast majority of the combat and is the most critical to clearing map objectives. So, open question to the people in the call. What do you think makes a good carry unit in Three Houses?
1 to 2 range.
1-2 range, okay.
1-3 range.
1-3 range, okay. Escalating, yeah, okay.
Like,
Mobility.
Mobility, okay, good.
Flying.
Flying, okay. Also strong, okay.
reaching the boss in general.
Reaching the boss in general, okay, yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. Being Petra, okay, that's also a good one. So, yeah, gonna pause for a second to talk to chat real quick. Welcome in, Sithis. It's been a long time. Great to see you. Avil, hello. Welcome in. Great to see you too. So yeah, so a lot of those things definitely apply. I think base. You kind of said 1-2, and then spam said 1-3. And then yeah, so it is omni range. It is very important, at least for portions of the game. And people said movement, essentially flying, good combat. So I'm gonna load on screen here. You're gonna see this program, which is known as the trademark Triabolical editor, made by Triabolical. So what I have loaded here is this is one of the defining maps of the entire run. This is the penultimate chapter in Enbar. So this is where your parties. You can see my cursor now. This is where your party starts, here and here. And you got to go all this way down here, like essentially 30 rows of tiles to get to Hubert and take Hubert out. So as Spam noted, reaching the boss, what we have here is a lot of long maps that have a kill one boss objective, and the boss can be sometimes very far away. So yeah, that's where the movement range comes in. That's where flying can potentially come in, because in addition to just being a long distance, one thing that actually makes this map even harder, more tricky than other routes, is that on Blue Lions, they actually load extra fence terrain like right here, so you can't actually just walk down here with the foot unit. You've got to like wrap around here, then wrap back, and so yeah. So it doesn't display here, but it does show up on the map. So all taken. So now I want to go back to something that Joshua said. So Joshua said flying. So with this in mind, do the Flyers just win? And that's a bit of a rhetorical question. So the answer is they are very good. But there is one class that's grounded that can compete with flyers. Does anybody know what that is?
Bow Knight, I
Yes,
think.
very good. Yeah, Bow Knight can compete with flyers. Yes, and as Mega says, the warp class can definitely help our grounded Bow Knights. So if you just had a map where there was, let's just say a Wyvern Lord and a Bow Knight, and then it was all plains tiles, the Bow Knight would actually have further attacking range than the Wyvern Lord. Um, because of same movement, but bow range +2 on the Bow Knight gives it a bit further there. So um, just something to consider. So now, as we think about that, I'm going to turn off the Tribal editor for a second here. What I'm going to do here is actually I'm going to rename the tiers into a few different roles here. And what we're going to do is I'm going to identify who fits what role. So the most important thing for you to draft is your carry. So with that being in mind, I did acknowledge flying was good. I also said bow knights were good. There are 5 options which can suit into basically the good flying classes, which I'll just bullet off that. Those are wyvern and bow knights. So who are those 5 units from this draftable cast that can fit that carry designation?
Petra,
Petra,
Right?
Leon,
Leone, right?
Leone, Cyril,
Yep. Cyril. Yep.
Shamir?
Bernadetta.
Not Shamir. Bernadetta, yes. And Shamir, no, because she doesn't have riding. So she can't gain any riding
I
rank.
thought
Yeah.
she did for some reason.
Yeah. But hey, I mean, she's got bows.
Hilda?
Not Hilda, no. She does not have a flying boon.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yep, Mecca's got it. Seth.
Oh yeah.
Set up with like early archer support.
Yes, and that's a good thing to know. Yeah. Um, so as Spam kind of alluded to, early archer support. So the flying and the high movement comes into play a lot during post time skip. No, unfortunately, no, not Ingrid said this. Although I did theorize an Ingrid carry, but I think she's underused or like she's in the ban list tier basically. If you know the Pokemon, the overused, underused ban list. I think she's like in the ban list tier. So, but yeah, so these are the 5 main carries, and so like I said, like post time skip is where you want to have the range to hit something or to kill a boss very far away. Now, as Spam alluded to, he said Seth early archer support. Do you want that for him? The answer is yes. So the best class for pre-time skip isn't Pegasus Knight, it's not Brigand, it's Archer. Archer is better than all those because, as was alluded to earlier, having 1-3 range is very, very fast for being able to sweep on enemy phase, like especially all the enemy archers who have 3 range and will attack you from there. Yes, as Mecha noted, Felix, very pog. So there are a lot of characters that basically have a bow boon, and for different reasons, you might identify, okay, well, if I have Seth and I want a pre-time skip archer carry, which one of those options do I want? So I will say Cyril also does want someone to carry pre-time skip for him because it is not fast to pick up Cyril and just try and make him work versus someone you've been rolling, the first like 5 chapters before he gets to join. So Ash carry when? I mean, you could do it. You could do it. So just pick an archer and figure it out and hope you can probably get through pre-time skip with them. So it is normal mode. So okay. So with that in mind, also I should point out the roll compression then of the other 3. Bernadetta, Leone, and Petra they all have bow boons, so they can all do archer pre-time skip themselves. And then Petra does get Wyvern Rider, and she can still use bows and Wyvern Rider. Leone and Bernadetta both have access to the Bow Knight class. So, do you recruit Cyril ASAP, then get all levels, or recruit him as late as possible? I will answer that question privately for our team later. So I do want to, and it's worth it to ask questions of me now. So because some of my competitors are on this call, I'm doing an overview of like the basic information. And go ahead and ask a question. And if it's something that's strategic that I'd say, okay, I'm going to keep that for my team myself. That also gives you a hint to look into it, so you can figure it out and you can do some digging for yourself. But yeah, so I will leave that as an investigation homework for everybody else. But I will tell you once we're off the call, Mecca. He does have Bow Knight, yeah. Welcome in, Sothis. It's so great to see the goddesses bless us with her present. Can you figure out why Marianne is the best carry? Yeah, yeah. She's great, yeah. Will you also grant me the confidential information? Yes, Genna, I will tell you, yeah. So
I was also wondering about Cyril.
what was that? Spam?
I also had questions regarding Cyril if I could be included in the confidential information as well. I don't know if that's too much to ask.
I'll think about it, but I think when I give you the resources, I think you'll be able to figure it out for yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, I do have resources for you to explore further after this, so. Okay. Let's see what else. Anything? Okay, so yeah, and then for anyone not aware, Genna, who is mod in chat here, it looks like Gene for people who are unaware, but Genna is the commentator for the race. So he'll be hosting all perspectives on his stream, while each individual team, I think, just plans on hosting their own perspective. And so he'll be providing commentary, and we're going to feed him information about the meta, like confidential information about the meta beforehand, so he can provide more informed commentary to the viewers. So, okay. So now there are a few other roles at a high level that are important to fill out a drafting team. So I'm just going to. Right, okay, actually, one of them was mentioned previously. Can anybody guess what that might be?
Warp.
Yes, perfect. Warp is going to be your second priority. And since I already put them up there, I'll just put them up there again. There you go, 3 warpers. So we have 3 teams, we've got 3 warpers. Which one is the best, which one is the worst? That'll be for each team to figure out for themselves. But I think people might assume which one is the best based off what I said earlier, so. All right, welcome in the king. Yeah, as much as I hate that Bernadetta carries, it can't be denied. True. Okay, so I think each map, each team appreciates a warper to save some time. I will leave it to each team in the race to figure out where that might be. But again, given the resources I'm going to provide to you, I don't think it'll be that hard to figure it out. Okay, so the next important thing is actually going to be, actually, give me 1 second. I need to update my overlay. Forgot I was going to do this. I got really enraptured, and I got in a good rhythm, I'll say. Let's see where are these guys at. No, where are they at? Here. Where are we at here? There we go, okay. Okay. So I'm gonna save my overlay. So I'm gonna add the carries there at the bottom. They're little Fey sprites. Okay. And then let me move the call over to this other screen so I can see you guys. Okay. Move you over here, and then I'll go like this. Go like this, and I'll go like this. Okay. Where's Happy going? Oh, you'll see. You'll see. Okay. So, so the next important thing is not going to be obvious for anyone who's not familiar with the format, so I'm just going to tell you what it is. It's going to be authority. Why is authority important? Can anybody guess as to why authority might be important?
Because you
Battalions.
can't go-
Yeah, because
Stride.
battalions. Stride, okay. What else? What other battalions?
Impregnable wall.
Impregnable wall. Okay, yeah, good. Gambit specifically, yes.
Yeah, Stride is E rank. I think you can get away without it.
Yeah. Stride is E rank, but yeah,
There's
impregnable
an
wall
E-rank
is a
guy,
D rank.
Second strider, though.
Second Strider, that's a great point. Blue Lions actually does have access to a second Stride battalion in the shop, and it's a D rank Stride. So yeah, in Blue Lions there is a second Strider role. Okay, any other battalions, or I'm sorry, gambits?
Sacred
people?
Shield allowed?
Yes, Sacred Shield is allowed.
Then that.
Yeah.
Battleground Cafe.
Battleground Cafe, that is also a good one. So yeah, and that's a C rank. Sacred Shield's a B rank. So, point being, there's a lot of really helpful battalions, support battalions specifically, that can save you a ton of time. And so having people that can use them, use their gambits, is very helpful. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to ask the group here to identify from the remaining pool all the characters that actually have authority above a base E rank at the start.
Oh, Aloise. Everyone knows that.
Yes. Yeah, Aloise comes with, I think it's C rank. Ingrid does not set
Annette.
this. What was that base?
Shamir.
Annette.
Annette does, yes. I heard Shamir. Did you say that, Spam?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, Shamir comes with base D rank.
Gilbert, right?
Yep, Gilbert does come, I think, with base D rank. Constance said this in the chat. Yeah, Constance has an authority boon. Yeah,
I know Ignatz has a boon. I don't remember if he has higher than E.
he does. Yeah, he comes with E plus. Yeah, and he has the boon. Yeah.
Oh, big E plus.
Yuri. I don't remember his base.
Yes, Yuri does, and he has a boon too.
Lawrence has authority, right?
He has a
No,
boon.
he does not.
Oh no, he just has the boon.
No, he does not have a boon.
Oh really?
Oh,
Yeah.
Hanneman.
What?
What was that?
Well, at first I said certainly Rhea as a joke, but then I remembered Hanneman.
Yeah, Hanneman does have base D rank. Yeah. We're missing a few here. We've got one.
Ferdinand?
Nope.
No.
Anna?
Nope.
Catherine?
Yes, Catherine. So the trend with most of the knights actually is that most of the knights come with at least base D. The exception to that is Manuela. Or Church of Saros, I should say. So, I will give you another one because of role compression. Lysithia. She has an authority boon, so she can actually fill dual roles, and that's why she is the best warper. Not because just her range, but also because she can do both roles. Sorry about that. There is one other person, and it's extremely non-obvious. I would be
Flame?
surprised if anybody got it. Who was that?
Byleth.
Flaying?
No, not Flame.
Chapter 13 Byleth.
That does count. So,
Got
but
him.
that's not what
Got
I'm
him.
talking. I'm just gonna tell you. So, it's actually Balthus.
Hmm.
So Balthus does
Yeah.
not have an authority
Look up now.
boon, but he does come with E plus authority at base. So now let me zoom out a bit. So why is this important? So authority rank is something that it's a bit of an exception to the boons of budding talents rule. You can gain authority rank if you wield a battalion for like combat. So you can equip a battalion to like your carries. They're going to earn authority rank. But you can only set authority as a goal if you have an authority boon or budding talent, which there is no budding talent. But so authority boon. So that's, Annette, she can gain authority by setting the boon. Ignatz, Constance, Yuri, they can all set the boon. Lysithia can set the boon. Then all the knights do not have authority boons, but they come with such a high base authority that they can just slot into that role and use one of the C rank or D rank battalions, depending on who it is. So now let's rewind to Balthus. So Balthus does not have an authority boon, but because he comes with E plus authority, what you can do is you can make him your pre-time skip strider, and he will stride enough times to get to D authority by post-time skip. That's a little quirk where Balthus then can slot into a role where he's a D rank battalion user in post-time skip. So he can do impregnable wall, he can do your second stride, so really interesting utility with Balthus there. Okay, any questions on those? Okay.
Are
All right.
rallies really worth considering, or like for the, I mean, I guess that would depend on the team, but overall, like when you have someone whose authority you want to raise, like a net, for example, would you
Uh-huh.
really go out of your way often to get rally speed, for example? I guess that's just dependent on what you're doing, right?
Yeah. To answer your question, also, I'm gonna change from the the Garthan theme real quick. I just realized I was playing. Okay, there we go. That sounds better. Um, yeah, to answer your question, it is, you kind of answered it yourself. It is team dependent, and I think in certain contexts, rallies are pretty helpful for meeting specific benchmarks. And it'll depend on who your carry is and where you are in the game as to whether or not the rally will be worth it. So, I think if you, again, I'll have the resources like I said, and I think once you consult them, I think you'll start to see some scenarios, and maybe you find your own where you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm usually short here, so maybe I should think about drafting this person who has this rally with this carry because they might be a good match in this specific situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I'm gonna give you the fourth role that kind of brings us to a nutshell, or puts everything in a nutshell. That's not right. Okay, just ignore that I said that. Okay, so the fourth role is gonna be a super strider. Can anybody tell me what that is?
It's
Someone
a
with
strider
Canto.
with a lot of move.
Yes, but we can get a little bit more specific than that.
Kanto?
Canto.
Yes, exactly. So, the stride battalions are grounded battalions in this format. So, what's the best class with Kanto that has the most move?
Paladin.
Paladin.
Exactly. So, because you can auto level to 20, you can just have someone who's a flunky just become a paladin and just be able to apply stride, Kanto forward, and then apply stride on the next turn. So, from the remaining cast, who can become a paladin?
Sylvain.
Ferdinand von Eyre.
Like
Yep,
all the
yep.
gingers.
Ingrid?
Ingrid.
Yep, that's correct.
Lawrence has
Oh, but he leaves.
writing.
That's a good note. Yeah, he does leave for a few chapters, so he would be an interesting pick if you relied on him. So,
Marianne.
yep, Marianne does it as well. So I'm gonna blow the lid off of a few more. So because of role compression, so people that are carries, if they're not picked to be carries, can also fill this role. So who would that be?
Bernie.
I guess Verdana.
Yep.
Cyril.
And Leonie.
Yep. Okay. Now since I don't have a second portrait for this guy, I'll just blow the lid off of this one. But Gilbert also can do this.
Mm-hmm.
I guess
So-
that is two, right?
No, because I think he earns riding rank, and he would not be allowed to earn riding rank.
Oh, he's like a base, right? But not a boon.
Yeah, he does not have riding boon, so
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, he has a riding bane.
He has a calf cert on
Yeah.
him.
So
What about Happy if you like wait long enough? You can
exactly,
get enough
yeah,
Legal skill.
very smart.
Auto levels.
Yeah, very smart. Okay. For anyone who couldn't hear that, yeah. So Spam asked about Happy, who has a riding boon, but does not have a lance boon nor a lance butting talent. Yet, she is a quirky unit where she auto levels lances. Now, why is this? Every single unit levels 2 boons, but like in auto levels if you wait to recruit them. But no unit levels a movement type. Happy is the only unit who only has 1 boon that's like a weapon or authority type, which is reason. So the devs just said, hey, we gotta give her something else. We'll just have her auto level lances. So if you wait long enough with Happy, she can be recruited with C+ lances. You will need to immediately switch her goal from lances off of that, and then you can boost her riding rank, and then she can achieve, C+, lances, B riding, and Surfer Paladin. So very good spam, very good. Okay. And so the rest of these units are just trash. No, I'm just kidding. So, um, so they can fill different roles, and you'll have to figure out what those are. So, but what I will do is I will give you a big hint here, as to some of the very specific roles that, understanding at a high level these types of categories, I'll give you a list of very specific roles that your team, needs to be able to fulfill in a number of chapters, and I will go through and explain what each of them means. So I'm going to hide Dimitri now in the overlay, and then I will save that, and I'm going to paste in our Relay 2 channel the list of roles that I will also display on my overlay. Mecca, you asked, does gaining skill ranks for the purposes of that not being allowed mean they can get no XP or they just can't gain any ranks?
That's been answered basically.
Okay, sure. Sorry, I didn't say that.
It's all right.
All right, let me. Where's this image? Let me go grab this image for you guys. Okay. Where's the picture? Here we go. Okay. So, I'm gonna paste this in our relay too, and then I will also paste it, or I'll also show it on the overlay. Okay, where's my OBS? No, that's not right. There we go. Okay. So hopefully chat can see that. Hopefully it's readable. Okay, so with these like types of categories of units, you're gonna want to fulfill each of these roles. Let me see, how readable is that for chat? That's readable. All right, so I'm gonna go through each one and the significance of it. So I need my own. I'll just do that. Does that work? Okay, so let's start at the top. The number one most important role is going to be your post time skip carry, which each of these in the top carry role can do. It's pretty self-explanatory. As previously mentioned, you also want a pre-time skip carry, which 3 of these are going to do. And then, as mentioned previously, Cyril and Seth will also appreciate pre-time skip archer. So go find yourself a good person with a bow boon that can go through archer. Warp, self-explanatory. Okay, so here's the first interesting one. So Hubit Gambertier, what does that mean? So let me show the Tribalical editor again.
Yes, the chapter where you were just the boss. Do you have the slightest idea how little it narrows it down?
Yes. Specifically this one. So this is the penultimate chapter. What you want to do is you want someone who can apply a certain support battalion. So if you consult the Sacred Text resources, you'll see what that is. But one of the support battalions is extremely helpful from getting to here all the way to here very quickly. So next is the Claude Killer, which I know Mecha is going to have flashbacks to our old FE7 role, the Lloyd Killer role. So let me
Good old
load up.
Oswald with the fucking spear.
Yeah. I think this is the one. Nice. Okay. Give me a second. Okay, so this is actually Grounder, and we're on blue lines. And this is what it looks like. I want forced. What is going on here? There we go. Okay. All right, so this is Grounder 2, as where we've identified the Claude Killer role. So basically, on the blue lion side, you start all the way over here. This map is a kill 2 bosses map, and it is helpful to have someone who is not your carry take out Claude, who is here, who is number 23. Boom, there's Claude. Give me 1 second. So yeah, so you're gonna want someone who has the combat stats to take him out. So that's what that roll is. Sacred Shield. That is gonna come in handy in a few maps. So what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want someone who has up to B rank authority, who can wield it, and who can activate it. Sacred Shield, for anybody who's not aware, is slightly inaccurate in terms of its description in the game, but it prevents all damage from ranged attacks, not just magic range attacks. So anybody attacks you from greater than 1 range, you take 0 damage if they hit. Pre-time skip stride. I kind of mentioned this through the lens of Balthus. Let me hide the tribal editor. You're going to want someone, just someone, in pre-time skip to wield your stride. I've seen teams before that drafted a lot of like authority units, like, you know, a lot of church units, and then realized like, oh crap, I have my carry in pre-time skip, but I don't have someone who can cast the stride gambit. I need to draft somebody to do that. So something to pay attention to when you're drafting and balancing your team. E rank stride and D rank stride. We talked a little bit about those. So E rank, like as Mecca alluded to, as the base Saros Holy Monks, anyone can wield that. The D rank stride, which Spam alluded to, is an extra stride battalion in the Blue Lions route specifically. So you will want someone who has greater than E rank authority to be able to use that. Chapter 10 Warp Assist. Let me load that map. Also, if anybody has any like further questions on a few of these, I know I'm playing coy with a few of like the deeper meanings, but if you have a question, you can go ahead and ask it, and I will let you know if it's something that maybe you need to look further into, or I will straight up answer your question. Okay. Chapter 10 Warp Assist is so this map is this is the Kranya map. Here's Kranya. Default heals. Okay. Here's Kranya. She's in the middle here. So after you take out Kranya, your units are reallocated to here. And then Solon is here. And it helps to have someone be able to help the Warper warp over this. This ridge, basically. So when you start in the forest, you may find that your movement is a little scuffed in terms of getting your Warper or your warp target into the optimal position. There's a lot of ways that you can augment that. A lot of ways you can assist your Warper or your carry. So the sacred texts may have more information on how to do that in various ways. Pre-time skip Fusillade. So Fusillade is a gambit. It's an offensive gambit that has 2 uses, fires from 2-3 range, and covers in a cross tile formation. So this is going to be helpful in 2 specific scenarios. Let's see. This one. Okay, so this is Chapter 5, the Gautier Inheritance. So when you fight Miklad, he turns into a monster. So yeah, Fusillade comes with a cross gambit, and if you hit a monster on the corners with the cross gambit, it only takes 2 gambit uses to break all their tiles. So you want someone in pre-time skip who can specifically wield the Fusillade gambit in this situation, and then also it is very helpful in this chapter, which does not look like this in normal mode. It looks... Okay, well, some of these are like difficulty based. This is not how many monsters are on normal mode, but you get the point. Okay. So let me pause there. Any questions so far? Okay.
Yeah. So
oh, go ahead.
You mentioned. Oh, sure. So you mentioned breaking the boss's barrier. How important is that umbral steel that drops in general?
I would say I don't think it's particularly helpful. I think breaking the barriers is more of a function of fighting the monster very quickly.
Gotcha.
Yeah. good question. So anyone in chat who couldn't hear that, Spam asked about if the Umbral Steel from breaking the barriers was important for foraging purposes or anything like that. So okay. So next is the Chapter 6/Chapter 7 Blessing. So Blessing is a gambit which we haven't talked about yet, but it is B rank, which is very expensive to get that early on someone, but I've identified it, so I think it's probably worth it. So that is Chapter 6 is this chapter. So why you want that is because this is a kill boss map, and the boss is right here. There are a few ways to fight him, but all of which involve some manner of it helps to have blessing reliability so that if he happens to crit you on counterattack, you don't immediately die and you can survive. And you can finish the kill quickly and not have to take a reset because you got bad RNG on him. So
Speaking of resets, Divine Pulse is allowed, right?
yes, Divine Pulse is allowed, yeah. So Divine Pulse is going to be pretty big strategically. So which I'll go over a little bit more in depth in our team call. So yeah. What's up, Raisins? Okay. And then and then 7 Blessing. So 7 is Grinder Wood. Here we go. Come on, blue lions. Okay. So Grounder 1 is a very fun map. It might be the second most fun map. It's very fun. But what you want to do is essentially what happens is that you start here, and it's a route map. And it doesn't matter whether you route or the enemy routes, but it's a little bit better if you route than they route. It doesn't hurt to have a little bit of assistance from them. But essentially what happens is that you send your carry out, and they basically are on their own against whoever they might fight. So one thing that's really helpful to add to the reliability of your carry not dying and burning through all your pulses and having to reset is if they have the Blessing Gambit applied to them before they venture out on their own. So okay. And then Dancer. Dancer is a pivotal role for a lot of the, like I said, post-time skip maps that are very long, as I will reload the Hubert map. You know, that one. What is going on here? Work with me. What is it? Hold on. I loaded the Golden Deer one. My bad. What's this one called? This one? There we go. This is the Blue Lions one. Okay. Yeah, so one of the main things to get from where you start to the boss very quickly, as previously mentioned, Warp. Also, Dancer. Being able to dance, extend your movement. Everyone knows the power of that in this game. But specifically allocating and figuring out who your Dancer is, and that they don't take up any other roles. I have, actually, literally in the last race, Raisins was drafting a team that was similar to what I mentioned previously, where he was drafting a lot of, like, church units, auth units, and he got to the second last round, and he was like, oh, wait, I don't have anyone who's my Dancer. So, thankfully, for him, Hilda was still available, and he grabbed Hilda, like, in the 7th or 8th round. The team sucked. I mean, hey, your word's not mine. So, but you want to make sure, it sounds like, oh, how could I forget that? But if you start, focusing on the other things in your team to fill all the other roles, you just want to make sure that there's someone allocated for that role. Okay. All right, and then we've got our last group of roles here. So the Chapter 8 Knight. This one's very specific. Remire Calamity. I think I have to leave conditionals on. Okay, so this map is a kill boss map, and like most of the maps. So the Chapter 8 Armor Knight is specifically this guy right here, Knight 48. What you're going to want to do is that you're going to want to have someone who's not your carry um, go up and punch through him so that your carry can go through and fight the boss. So you're going to want someone in pre-time skip who has enough stats to punch through him. So that's what that roll is. Yeah. Chapter 14, Gate Guardian. This is one of my favorites. Okay, so this is Defending Garreg Mach, Chapter 14. So there is a seize point here. Can anybody actually tell me like how this map works, like how you actually clear this map?
I'll let someone else go. I hate explaining it. It's so annoying.
Sure,
So-
Raven explained this to me the other day as well. So the green sword master appears from the top right corner, number 70 up there.
Yeah.
And he's going to be running down towards the Onager, which is, I think, 37. You can have a unit go over there to help them out with strides, but other than that, you just let the Swordmaster run. And once they reach that tile, the big jumble of enemies in the center left of the map are going to explode in a ball of flames. There will still be a lot of them left because your carry should be on the right side escorting the Swordmaster. And then once you get in range of the boss to attack, the objective will change from route to kill boss, and he will hopefully then suicide on your carry. The end.
Yeah, that's a good explanation. So again, for Chad, because
no.
yeah, as Raisin says, very quiet. So yeah, so as Spam was explaining, yeah, so this map starts as a route map and is programmed as a route map until you fulfill the two conditions of getting this Great Sword Master to the Onager, and then it's not exactly the boss's attacking range, but give me 1 second. There is a zone here. There's like a box here around the boss that you need to, after the Swordmaster flag checks, get within that box. And then the boss, yeah, as Spam explained, the objective will change programmatically, actually, to kill boss. And yeah, hopefully the boss suicides onto you. So
Yes, I learned the hard way in VC the other day when instead of waiting for the boss to suicide on me, I went ahead and killed him myself, which does not change the map objective.
right, yeah. So yeah, you specifically need to be in the zone to trigger the condition change. So yeah, you cannot go ahead and off him like from outside the zone going into him. So now this comes with a complication on this map of the rest of the enemies, while you're trying to help the Swordmaster go down this path, are going to be targeting the seize condition right here, which is a game over condition. So this is where our Chapter 14 Gate Guardian comes in. What you're going to want is you're going to want a unit who can stand in this zone and basically vacuum all the enemies that initially threaten the gate. And this is going to be, spoiler alert, not your carry. So you need someone who is going to be strong enough to do that. So it's a very important role, a very cool role, and you definitely want someone specifically allocated for that role.
It sounds like that person would be really good for doing things other than for the tasks above, because it sounds like it has to be a really good combat unit.
Yeah.
But then again, it's normal mode, so
Yeah.
maybe I'm overcomplicating things.
Yeah. It's so I personally have a list of the candidates who can fulfill this role, so I will show you that list in our team call later. But yeah, but it's not a long list, so okay. Nouvelle Gambetier. So Spam alluded to this earlier when he said, did you say cafe? The cafe gambit?
Yeah, I believe I did say that.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, all of them.
So for people who may not be aware, the Nouvelle Gambits are 3 quest gambits that you can get. And I'll just tell you, specifically, we go and get them in Chapter 9 when we're exploring to get the Dancer anyways. There's a quest where you go get these gambits. They are C-rank gambits, and what they can do is that one of them gives a status of Strength +4 to characters in the affected area. The second one gives Absolute Defense, which is a status of Defense +6 to characters in the affected area. And the third one is just an offensive gambit. But so specifically those 2 status gambits, the Defense +6 and the Strength +4 are very helpful in strategies. So you want someone who has at least C authority to be able to use those. Any questions on that?
I assume there have been teams in the past that do not have every single one of these things on this list,
There have
considering
been,
how long the
yeah.
list is.
It is a long list, and so they're definitely you can definitely beat the game without a few of these roles, but it is slower to do so than if you have all of them checked off. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, and this is through like years of like meta development. We've done 6 official races actually. So yeah, just a lot of exploration, a lot of pushing, discovery and research further, and coming up with like these really niche things that actually save like a bunch of time. And so, um, a lot. If I'm gonna hide this for a second here, the tribal editor. Um, the name of the game is role compression. You want to understand who your carry is, and you want to draft characters that can fill as many of these roles. And it's like a puzzle of like, okay, well, I drafted this character for pre-time skip stride, or so. Okay, I'll just take Balthus for example. I drafted Balthus. He does pre-time skip stride. He does D stride. He can also at some points be an impregnable waller, and so like he fulfills a few roles there. Um, Give me a second. He could potentially also be in this situation, Chapter 15 Gwendol, which will segue me back into this. So Gwendol is not a super difficult boss to kill if you have axe access. Now, flipping back real quick to our carries, not all of them have axe access. So the way that you do that is that specifically the non-wyverns will need assistance in killing Gwendol. So he's just extremely bulky. See here. Physically. So axe access, I'm just going to blow the lid off here. He's a great knight. Just take out a hammer and whomp him. So Balthus also could theoretically be... you could insert Balthus after post-time skip into Warrior. And he can go and grab a hammer, and he can go and kill Gwendol for your Bow Knights. So this is specifically for a Bow Knight team that will want a Gwendol killer. That's not the carry. So another example of role compression there. All right, and then the final one is Endgame Waller, and this one is actually I actually forgot completely how this one worked until recently. And I think it's the final battle is this one. No, that's the Silver Snow one. Oh, my program crashed. It did not like the final battle. I'm gonna reload it here. What is it called? What's the final battle called in the
Oath of the Dagger.
it's the files are named the other title. Is it Clash Thief? Confrontation at the Palace, I think is what's called. Is this it? No, this is the Golden Deer one. Yeah, if anybody figures it out, let me know. Is it called For the Freedom of Clash of the Imperial Capital? Is it this one? Oh yeah, okay, this is this one. Get rid of the conditionals. There we go. Okay, so this is the final map of the run. And basically, what you want to do is, it's also a kill boss map, but there's a lot of stuff standing in your way. And the boss is not someone that you can win around. So you might have to fight more enemies than just the boss. And in this chapter specifically for the Bow Knight teams, it is helpful to have someone who can cast Impregnable Wall. The Wyvern teams do not need this. So. Okay, so I did explain all the rules. Does anybody have any questions?
I was curious if you know, in Chapter 17, Gronder 2, like what actually causes Bod to start moving? and the reinforcements to appear behind you and to the east. Because I've had like attempts where I didn't have them spawn until the very end of the map, and then I had attempts where I had them spawn on like turn 2. I wasn't sure what the difference was.
Okay, so for anyone who didn't hear that question, that was what causes
Yes.
Claude to aggro and the reinforcements to spawn on Grounder 2. So I will actually load the battle script file and we can take a look together. Let's see. Blue line's true. Okay, keep on map defeated. So this battle script is actually all the programmed actions. I am just gonna scan through this real quick. The short answer is there's a zone that you can enter, and I think it's either you enter the zone or you aggro Claude within his range. Just gonna keep scanning here. This, I mean, this is gonna be the light the Bernadette fire map. Man, there are so many events here. Okay, just keep scanning.
How many are there? Like 200?
Yeah, 280.
Uh,
Wow.
Yeah.
any percent? Let's go.
I'm just like, okay, here we go. Okay, so this is. Okay, so this is an index. Okay, well, it references 3 other events, which is great. So if 3 other things did not happen, event 34, 61, and 87, and if the player unit is within this zone here, and it's the start of enemy the yellow team phase. You play the map dialogue. You spawn these units, and you spawn. Okay, there, and that's either Ingrid or okay, and then AI changes to seek unit AI. Okay, so basically it's this zone. Where's the condition? This is your zone here.
That looks. I'm sure I wasn't over there though. By turn 2, I think I had someone going like over to Edelgard and everyone else huddled in the top right.
Okay. 34, 61, and 87. I remember 114. 34.
Not trying to be difficult, but
Yeah.
it's just
No, it's.
confusing.
I mean, there are 3 other contingencies. So.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. 34. All right, so 34 is. Okay, so if you have not triggered the fire trap, and then if you have not. What's this one? If 121 is defeated and 59 is true. Okay, so okay, this is going to be really complicated. So if you have 121, I assume is a Claude or Edelgard? Oh, Hubert. Oh, Hubert's 121. Okay. Okay, so if Hubert is defeated and you have not triggered the fire trap, and if you have gone into this zone, okay, so okay, so basically, if you haven't triggered any of these things that I have just said, where this zone, the fire trap, killing Hubert, if you haven't done those things, then it becomes, for the Golden Deer, did you enter, what was that, 114?
That bottom right zone.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, the triggers are actually pretty complicated.
I guess Claude just wanted to concoct like some crazy scheme to ruin
He is
my
such
day.
a schemer.
Yeah.
For real.
So the what I would recommend is because the triggers are pretty complicated, find and you can also consult the sacred text. Find a consistent way where you recognize the consistency of it, which I guess you're asking, which is why I'm I guess yeah, we're learning
Yeah.
how complex this map actually is, trigger wise. Um, and if you find one that presents inconsistencies, either develop plans for those or take a different approach to the map that is more consistent.
Yeah. So just planning.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yo, thanks for the watch streak, Abel. Appreciate you. Loudheart, did you say wyverns don't need endgame waller? That is correct. Okay. Any other questions?
I had one more. I've heard Raisins mention the Monday glitch, but I just wanted to make sure that I understood the workaround to it, um, and I guess just what it is in general, because I forgot to write it down when he told me. But so is it when the mission happens on a Monday, you don't get credit for like that week of tutoring, and in order to actually get the credit for that week of tutoring, you have to instead like stop skipping before the mission and then rest until the mission.
Yeah, that's correct. So, again, for anyone who didn't hear that, the Monday mission bug is that so the Three Houses calendar is weird, where the day slot all the way on the left is Monday, and then the day slot all the way on the right is Sunday. So when the mission falls on the day slot all the way on the far left, you don't get full tutoring credit if you skip to that date, the mission on that day. So yeah, what you want to do is you want to go to the Sunday right before that mission, skip to that, and then rest to go to the Monday mission.
Cool. I guess that was less of a question and more of a please confirm, but thank you for confirming.
Yeah, confirming. Yeah, Europeans in shambles. Is that how the European calendar is? We will never know. Okay. Any other questions?
I get one last final one, I guess, just to piggyback off of my Ken Dimitri Ken Dimitri group task from before. If he is found to be able to, is then an undrafted Sylvain also able to?
Okay, I will think about that. So yeah, so the question for chat was there was a previous question about whether Dimitri could group task, and then there was a follow-up question if an undrafted unit such as a Sylvain, who may be kept alive for reasons that may involve Lance of Ruin access, um, if an undrafted unit that's kept alive can participate in group tasks. So I will think about that.
Do undrafted units also, are they allowed to gain ranks at all?
Yeah, so we do have a rule where in Chapter 2 you are allowed to field your undrafted in-house units to get them killed off to save time on ranks. But yeah, like if you don't draft Flayed and you have her and you don't draft Seteth because they auto-join, they'll just gain ranks. And so what you want to do is through auto rakes. What you want to do is you just want to set their rakes to something that learns the least amount of stuff, so it does waste the least amount of time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's a good question. Any other questions? Solo riding is the
Raisins
best.
mentioned solo riding. Are those units allowed to be tutored in skills that they don't have boons in because they don't matter?
I have always played as if you have to select a boon. So I've never actually not done that, so I guess we could figure that out.
And I'm just bringing up more complications.
I mean they're good questions, you know, and I'm open to discussion. For undrafteds, there isn't a rule. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what that works for. Same reasons there's not a rule. So I mean, we could just like be like it doesn't matter for undrafted. So which would make it easier if we just like okay, anybody who's not drafted just set it to riding and just set it forget it.
It'd also be nice for looking at your goals menu to quickly say, like, filter out just the riding solo.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, easy visual for who's not drafted.
Are you allowed to field units later to kill them off later in chapter 2?
No.
Damn it. Flane has the right to die, damn it.
Yeah. Hey, Flame gets to live in every timeline, unless you kill her off for different reasons than you.
Just don't accidentally pick Crimson Flower.
Yeah.
Accidental Edelgard support.
Any
Oh
other
yeah, for the New Game Plus
Yeah, yeah.
stuff, you're allowed to recruit instantly with the New Game Plus file, but I'm assuming that that's kind of the extent to which New Game Plus is used. Besides the things you mentioned, like you're not allowed to like get like ranks
Correct.
for it.
Yeah, there is a few other like nuances with New Game Plus that are basically it's like stuff opens up in the shop like way earlier. So like you actually gain like really early access to like certain weapons and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, like silver and stuff. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that.
So that's a difference with New Game Plus, but I mean it's everybody's playing with it, so it works.
Yeah, it's just you don't have to hold yourself back from buying something if you're not sure if it was New Game Plus or not. Do
Yeah.
anything you want within that file. Okay.
Yeah.
On that note, my team also kind of noticed that the renown in the file itself is really, really high, like much higher than the rules document specifies for the default amount.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, it seems like you could make use of all of that at the pagan altar. Like, if you wanted to, you could like
Right.
you could utilize all of that extra renown. So should that be allowed or not?
Yeah, so the question was the current file has more renown than is specified in the rules doc. I think we just agree, like we just talk about it with everybody and we just agree on whatever the number is for this race, and then we just say, hey, this because I think the amount that's specified in the rules doc is more than enough, but um if you want to make a case that you want more, I'm open to that. So I'd say for all intents and
Yeah, I mean,
purposes,
the case is just that like more can definitely be utilized. Like not necessarily that like I want to use more, but you know, any amount of renown can be just helpful.
yeah. If you want to advocate for a specific number that's not the number in the rules, feel free to say what that number is and make a post about it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll consider doing that.
So yes, this is a modding tool for Three Houses. It's the Tribal editor. Guess who made it? Any other questions? Okay. All right. What language was used to create it? I don't know. You could ask Tribalical. You can at him in the server. Okay, so I guess we'll wrap it there. But yeah, appreciate everyone who came out to learn more about Three Houses draft racing. But with that, I'm gonna end stream. Thanks everyone, and come watch the race when we do it.
Thanks for the seminar.